Hold on. Well, hello. We're here live from City Hall in Alexander City, enjoying the moment and waiting for results to start coming in. Once again, we love the fact that you've been liking and sharing our Facebook and also our YouTube stuff. Please continue to do that. At this point in time, we're going to start having around 7 o'clock. 7:15 we expect for the first few results to come in. Even with the online stream, we still will be having some individuals. We'll have to break in for our live coverage with 97.5 Kalaja Country. So we got a lot planned for today. We will be posting the results as soon as we get them, and we will be doing all kinds of fun stuff tonight. The Doug Roberts.
I'm just actually looking on here. I was trying to find the link, the live stream link, so that I could share it.
Well, and as always, you can always check out any of our broadcasts by simply going to the Centrist Alabama YouTube channel and hitting watch watch the video, and it's probably.
I was just trying to find that. I had it earlier. I can't find it. I was going to send it to my wife so she could watch it.
So we got a lot of stuff in front of us right now, and hopefully we will get some closure to 3 positions tonight. I know there are 6 people that want this to be pretty much over. 3 of them will be the next elected individuals. 3 of them will be working hard in the community afterwards to help solve community problems. What do you think, Doug? How do you think? I never got projections or ideas from you about how this is going to work out.
You're talking about the runoff itself tonight?
Yeah.
Yes, and for my prediction?
Yep.
This is what I believe, and this is not any bias. This is observation.
Okay.
As a citizen of Alexander City, I believe that I believe Mr. Neighbors will be elected our mayor tonight.
Okay. Any particular reason why?
I think right now there's a lot of movement in people's minds and actions.
Oh, we already got some results. I don't mean to cut you off.
How do we get them? It's just now 7 o'clock.
Well, they already ran the tape, it looks like.
I guess they done.
This is District, let's see, District 5.
Okay. District 5, reporting.
District 5 is reporting, that will be...
Total votes of 464.
4.
Well, that's the total.
Total votes,
Mr. Neighbors at
361. And Mr. Shaw
103.
Is 103.
103.
So right now in District 5, it looks like Mr. Neighbors is already ahead 77.8% to 22.2%, with his vote totals being 361 to 103. And it looks like we're about to break into 97.5.
Okay. Let's head over to the radio side.
This is Sean. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Sean?
Yeah.
Hey, you ready, man?
Yeah, we got vote totals for one district already.
All right, cool. Well, we're up here in about 30 seconds, okay?
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, I'm going to feed you the audio. Here we go. Gives you control of collection, pricing, scheduling, and more. Gets all experience the emotion of value at S&S Discount Tire in Alex City and Dadeville, where they install a peace of mind. Or SNSDiscountTire.com. WKTA, Goodwater, Alex City, and the entire Lake Martin area. Today is Best Country. Hey y'all, I'm Christian. Hey everybody, it's Dan and Shay. Hi, this is Chris Young. Elijah Country, 97.5, the Lake Broadcasting Station. And good evening everybody, it is JJ live in the studio tonight as we get ready for election return. And the municipal runoffs going on today here in Alexander City. Of course, they're also going on. Election returns all around the area. Election returns here in Alexander City, of course, in the mayoral runoff as well as a couple of city council districts. We will cover all of that tonight. We'll also have returns expected to be sent to us tonight from Dadeville, Alabama as well. We'll be watching some runoffs in the Camp Hill area as well. So runoff elections really all over the area. And to help us out tonight, we have the centrist himself, Sean Bland, is out at City Hall tonight. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing? I'm actually joined with Doug Roberts tonight.
Dr. Doug.
Hey, JJ. How you doing, buddy? Good.
I know it's pretty exciting. I was looking at some of the vote totals are out there now, and some of the total number of people who voted are also out there.
Yeah, right now it looks like for District 5, we just got the actual tape itself sent to us, and we're looking at 361 for Neighbors and 103 for Charles Shaw. That gives Neighbors a current 77.8% lead over Charles at 22.2%. And right now we're reporting about 464 total votes in the election at this point in time. It's a little low for that area. We anticipate usually around 600 votes per district is what we were thinking, but hey, you know, it is what it is, and we're going to get started trying to get more information as we can. We have actually people in each district that are going to be sending us the actual snapshots of the tapes tonight, so hopefully.
Really exciting, and I don't have the numbers from the first round of voting, but today I do have some vote totals from each district. There were 591 cast in District 1, 575 in 2, 428 in District 3, 814 in District 4, 549 in District 5, and 841 in District 6.
Correct.
Now those were the primary election totals. So everything we do now is compared against that, right? So you wouldn't expect turnout to be as heavy, would you, or would you?
Well,
I think this, Jerry, I think this is a more lively election than we've had in a while, just because some of the issues that have been on the forefront of people's minds and in the media. So I think we're going to have a little bit different turnout than we expect sometimes, and I think this election may be a good example of that. I'm in District 1, and I actually waited till I came in tonight to vote. I voted about 6:40 intentionally because I wanted to see what the number was at there. And I was number 534 in my district, which has both a mayor runoff as well as a city council position runoff between Bobby Tapley and Steve Crow.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that. The city council districts, we talked about that. District 1, Bobby Tapley and Steve Crow. District 2, you've got Jacob Meacham and Audrey Colvin. So those districts, you would think city council districts with runoffs may see higher vote totals than maybe some of the others?
Yes.
Yes. I think it is. I think you're going to see a bigger turnout in compared to what we would expect in those areas that also have a council runoff. Sometimes I think with the mayor runoff, people sort of sit back and say, hey, I'll let someone else take care of that. I want to go eat supper. And they don't go vote and take care of that. And, that could be reflected in the results tonight.
Now, JJ, I hate to break in, but I have 3 total box reported so far. District 3, the gas plant is 277 for Neighbors, 96 for Charles Shaw. District 5 is 361 for Neighbors, 103 for Charles Shaw. And District 6 is 578 for Neighbors and 80 for Charles Shaw, which gives a total of 1,216 votes for Neighbors, 279 for Charles Shaw, which is an 81% lead at this point in time for Mr. Neighbors.
So we're off and running there, and you know, it reminds me before, and you guys remember from the primary election, it started out very similar to this, and then we started getting vote totals in Districts 1 and Districts 2, and
Right.
District 4, as I recall, was a fairly even race in there too, so this thing could tighten up significantly as the night goes on.
And just so that you know, District 2 has had 714 votes
Wow.
cast so far for this election, and I'm trying to see if we're right now only meeting Districts 1, 2, and 4. I think Districts 1 and 2 will probably be a little on the slow side because there seems to be a pretty good amount of turnout in those two districts at this point in time. Hillaby had a little bit of a problem this morning, but I think it got taken care of, so they should be able to print out in a few minutes and let us know where they are there.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to watch. Listen, why don't we check in with you guys here in just a little while. We'll let you kind of talk to some people. By all means, if you run across a candidate or an interesting person that wants to talk, feel free to get them on the radio, okay?
Sounds good, buddy.
Appreciate it, Jeremy.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Dr.
Bye.
Doug Roberts and Sean Bland out live tonight at City Hall as we await all the returns. Again, partial returns are in already, and at this point, Jim Neighbors with a significant lead over Charles Shaw. That is with 3 of 6 districts reporting. All the polls closed at top of the hour, 7 o'clock. No results yet in Districts 1 or District 2, which is where we had 2 city council runoffs there too. In Dadeville, Frank Goodman and Wayne Smith have a mayoral runoff there as well. And you also have city council runoffs as well. District 2, Brownie Caldwell and Harold Gamble. District
Hopefully we'll be out of here
is
kind of early
Tanisha
tonight.
Goodman Johnson and Kevin Hall. Troy Davis and Roy Mathis in District 4. And that's happening in Dadeville, and of course the mayoral race is Frank Goodman and Wayne Smith. So as we get these results tonight, we of course will bring them to you. We have people that are going to be looking for those for us tonight. In Camp Hill, you have a mayoral runoff as well, Jeff Bandy and Ezel Smith. And in Goodwater, you have 2 seats on the town council. Seat 2 is Lewis Childs and Sharon Hawkins, and seat 3, Mary Lee Caldwell and Carlisa Thomas in the runoff today. So again, if you are in any of those places and are privy to the numbers, we would love to get those from you. We have people out in certain areas, but we'll take information in the old way we can get it. Some numbers in, some numbers we're still waiting on. Our election coverage continues in just a moment. Right now, our regularly scheduled program, Sports Blitz, is on the air.
I know. It has. We're not very good about keeping in touch in the off season, are we?
We aren't, though, but the beauty of Facebook is that I feel like I hadn't dropped off at all. We keep up with each other that way, and we know.
I don't need to talk to him anymore. All right. So we are back live on our stream, and it looks like, as we said on the radio a few minutes ago, it looks like Neighbors is taking a strong and commanding lead on the front end. Looks like he has almost 1,000 more votes than Mr. Shaw at this point in time.
Break that down in percentage right now, more or less, between Mr. Neighbors and Mr. Shaw?
80-20.
About 80-20.
Not like you paying your insurance. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, your taxes.
Yeah.
So you pay 80%.
So, but the key to this is it looks like in Districts 1 and 2 there's going to be some heavy turnout in that situation.
Well, and I'll point this out. If you'll remember, the last group or the last election when this came in, we kind of ran into the same realization that those particular districts changed the direction of the election substantially. In fact,
Right.
At one point, we were actually looking at it, and we believed that Mr. Neighbors might have a simple landslide. And then when those districts came in, it sort of jerked us back a little bit and put us in a runoff.
Not sure that that's going to happen this time.
I don't know either. I mean,
Because
that
even
remains
with
to
that
be
change,
seen.
even with the way that changed the dynamic, it really only changed the difference between 2 and 3.
That's right.
As far as who was going to get into that situation. It essentially knocked Lamborn into the 3rd place spot.
That's right.
And gave Shaw what I would consider some hope at that point in time that he might be able to move a little further. Right now, the bottom line is, unless Shaw runs the table on districts 1 and 2 and has a substantial showing in District 4, this is going to probably be good night and it's over.
It's highly unlikely. Now, I will say this, though, having watched the runoff for the council, I just can't call the Colvin Meacham. I can't.
Well, and it's hard.
It's been first of all, let me say this. I think that's two very qualified candidates, and I've watched that race between both of them for the last few months, and they've both been fair. They've been educated. They've been straightforward and honest with people, and I think everyone's appreciated that. Well, and I've just watched that race with a lot of interest. Because that really, to me, that's the one I can't guess.
That to me will tell the story on the direction that that the city's wanting to go in that particular situation. Now, what's interesting, in the last election, there was only a 40 vote, right around a 40 vote difference between the two of them, 43 vote difference between the two of them, and in a district like that is pretty significant.
Well, and that's kind of what I was basing that observation and projection on, was the fact that it was very, very close. Of course, you just had a good race there.
Now I'm getting something new in.
What do we got?
Hillaby. All right. District 4 has reported, and it looks like District 4 is 596 Neighbors and 107 Shaw.
So again, that's holding to the percentage that we've seen more or less so far.
And we're only 63% of where we were in the previous.
And that's with how many? 4 of the 6 reporting?
4 of the 6 reporting. Okay. So in order to even get close to where we need to be turnout-wise,
there's going to have to be a huge turnout.
There's going to have to be, not necessarily huge, because 700 of it came from District, what was it, 1 that you're in? Or was it 1 or 2?
One's not in yet. Yeah, okay. One's not in yet, and I was at 534 when I came through. So
right.
You can expect probably 545, 550 in there, which was real close to what we had there, in the primary.
Right.
So, you got at least that many votes coming in. Of course, District 1 was one that had a very strong showing for Charles Shaw in the primary. So.
I kind of was wondering how District 4 was going to react to Charles Shaw in that situation. They're a little bit different of a voter in District 4. I'm a District 4 person, and you
have a big mix of voters in District 4. Both you have just a lot of diversity in every area in District 4.
Right.
And we have that in District 1 too. District 1 is very diverse.
Yeah.
When you look at the neighborhoods that are in District 1, the makeup of people and the demographics of District 1, District 1's a crapshoot.
When we talked about District 1, we haven't said a whole lot about the contest for council in District 1 at this point in time.
Right.
Steve Crow.
Yeah.
And
Bobby
Tapley are locked in pretty much a pretty good battle in that situation. Now, the only thing is, Beverly White pulled off about 170 votes the last time.
She was very close to Mr. Crow's number.
Well, the question is going to be,
where did those voters go?
Where did those individuals go?
If depending where those voters went, or how they split up,
it will tell the story.
Will change what happens.
And it's going to be, in my opinion, it's not going to be a split of those voters. It will be they go to either Crow or they will go to Mr. Tapley.
I think you're going to see about 80% of that group of people that were with Mrs. White are going to either head for the Crow camp or the Tapley camp.
Any predictions?
Wow.
We'll never put you on the spot, would it?
You want a prediction?
I've already given my prediction. I think that it's going to be Tapley.
I agree with you. I believe it's going to be a close race.
I do, but
I do.
I just believe that Mr. Tapley spent a lot of time in the neighborhoods in that area, but I can't say because it's going to depend on the turnout and who turns out.
It depends who turns out, and it's that the Beverly White vote that she captured in the primary is going to make a big difference in how that falls on which side of the fence for.
Had a lot of people that went to the forum that actually said that it helped them to see a little bit more about what those two candidates were about in that situation. So, you know.
And I can say this, I know both of those gentlemen well. I've known Mr. Tapley for a number of years. Kids have known his kids. I've known Mr. Crow for a number of years. I wouldn't be in Alex City without Mr. Crow's influence when he was working. So I have a very personal relationship with both of those gentlemen, and they both my neighbors. So but I could be wrong, but I'm gonna predict a Tapley win in District 1. So
can I get you?
Oh, I don't think they like it.
Oh, man.
we could have
we tried to get some professional talent.
Stuck with us.
And, you know, I mean, we're not TV.
We're YouTube.
We're online, YouTube. It doesn't count.
Uh-oh, what you got?
We have District.
What is it?
If I was retired, yes.
Let's see.
Wait, what? Hey, let me see that. Can you not see that? Where's your glasses?
Would you quit? All right. Let's see. Voting.
What? City.
I can tell by who it. District 2.
2. Uh-oh. What you got?
What's that bottom one?
That says Buffy, Colvin, and Jacob Meacham.
That's it?
But I can't read the numbers. It's blurry. Who sent that?
No, I can see it.
Okay.
All right. In District 2, the numbers are currently Jacob Meacham. Well, let's start with the mayor.
Oh, there we go.
I'm killing Buffy. She's sitting right in front of. She's about to just die.
She's gonna come
and I did that because I didn't want to kill her. So I'm just going to give her a few more minutes to just suffer on this situation.
Well, we've been doing mayor first, and then
we're going to do mayor.
We have to maintain decorum.
All right. Okay. So mayor is. It looks like 278 for Neighbors, 252 for Shaw, and looks like Meacham is 250. I'm doing the lead up. This is like great TV. She's over here dying. I know she's going to shoot me, and I need to leave in a second. So far, it shows Buffy has 285. So if everything confirms out, it looks like Buffy has 53.3% of the vote currently.
But 50 plus 1 in our system, that puts you as the winner on these.
We want to verify those particular numbers just to make sure.
What was the mayoral vote there, Sean? I missed it when you were saying it. What do you have?
Hold on one second. Let me text this person just to make sure.
Well,
why is it quiet? You can talk.
We just have some dead time here.
It's YouTube, so you know.
That's exactly. Someone just told me it's freezing up anyways. They can't see us or hear us, so who knows? Trying to watch, but freezing up, I hear.
Numbers. All right. So currently, Mr. Neighbors with 5 precincts reported is at 2,090 votes, and 638 is what Shaw has.
So you're just waiting on District 1 now, basically.
Yeah. So.
What's happening, my friend?
Just reported all but one district. We have to verify the council numbers again, just to make sure for District 2.
You got to verify council numbers? Okay. So, are you working on that now? Do you want to? Because I'm not. You told me to give you about a 2-minute warning, so I'm calling you a couple of minutes ahead. So.
I should have those numbers verified in just a second. I sent a text. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on that now.
And when they go to break, I'm gonna launch it in. Okay.
Okay. I got a picture of the actual tape, so I feel pretty good about it, but it's a little blurry.
Okay.
All right. So just call. Let me know when you're ready to break in.
All right. I'm on feature the audio. Here we go.
All right.
Event planning, really kind of getting everything organized and planning events years out in advance. So people can prepare and they can look on their calendar. And the events that they host are phenomenal. You need to
You
make
got
your way
young
down,
eyes.
to the Auburn
Why don't you take a look at
area.
this?
You don't have to be an Auburn football fan to take advantage of a lot of the fun things that go on in that area. So thank Robin Bridges and her staff and John Wild and everybody that's involved there. We'll have her on again pretty soon to highlight some more things that they're doing. Going to take a break. When we come back, Luke will join me and we'll
getting the
dive
tape
right in.
off
High
the
school
wall.
football already midway through the season, over midway through the season.
Here's
It's hard to believe.
Jim Neighbors,
Starting to take a little bit of
305.
shape as far as who's going to make the playoffs and who's not. Some key
234.
games this past weekend, some big games coming up this coming weekend. Stay tuned.
3.
More Sports Blitz Live presented by JR's and S&S Discount Tire right after this.
That's it.
Welcome back to the Galactic
He got it.
Studios, where we're keeping an eye on the Runoff
Figured that.
happening around the area tonight. Alexander City, Statesville, Camp Hill as well, and Jackson the Gap. So, all of that. And helping us do that is Sean Glenn and Dr. Doug Robinson were out at City Hall in Alexander City earlier, getting us numbers for the runoff and those simple city council elections that generate so much interest here in the local area. Sean, how are you?
Doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
Very good.
Well, I think we're pretty close to getting a good understanding of where we are right now. It looks like all 6 districts have put information up, and unofficially, it looks like we have 305 in District 1 for Jim Neighbors, 234 for Charles Shaw, 193 for Steve Crow, and 342 for Bobby Tapley. District 2, 278, Jim Neighbors. Charles Shaw is 252. Buffy Colvin is 285, and Jacob Meacham is 250. District 3, 277 for Jim Neighbors, 96 for Charles Shaw. District 4, 596 for Jim Neighbors. Charles Shaw is 107. District 5, 361 for Neighbors. 103 for Charles Shaw. District 6 is 578 for Neighbors. 80 for Charles Shaw. We're waiting on absentee numbers. The totals that we have unofficially at this point in time, 2,395 votes for Mr. Neighbors and 872 votes for Mr. Shaw, which is a 73% victory over the 26% for Mr. Shaw. Steve Crow.
That's a powerful statement there, Sean. Now, let me ask you this question. Absentee ballots, you're familiar with this process. I see one race that looks close enough where absentees could affect it, and I'm talking about District 2.
Correct.
Which is Buffy Colvin and Jacob Meacham, separated, as if I heard you correctly, only by 35 votes, 285 to 250.
Right.
Is there any chance that there are 35 absentee ballots in that district?
I would seriously doubt it, but then they found 40 not too long ago, so I can't say exactly where we are, but I think we're in a good spot to say that those numbers probably won't change that much. I'm verifying District 2 right now.
We feel comfortable calling it like it is.
Ooh, I was a little off on District 2.
Oh.
It was 265 to 260.
Oh, well, that changes everything.
And it was still Miss Colvin at 50.5%.
So that's 5 votes. So actually, now that we're at that number, absentees could make a difference for that small number of votes.
Yeah, that would be right now the only district and the only position where counting the absentee ballots at this point may make a difference one way or the other, because, and it was just like I said, that particular district and that particular race was going to be too close to call. I mean, we're literally at 50.5% versus 49.5%.
And Jeremy, that's exactly the conversation Sean and I had before we went live with you on the first segment. discussing that particular district, we both literally said it's literally up in the air for us. We just weren't sure. So to see the return come back that close, within 1%, I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised. So,
yeah, that's one that I think a lot of people have kind of pegged as being one that was going to be very, very tight in there. And now, with only 5 votes separating, you literally do have to wait to see the absentee numbers before you make a call in that.
And we're getting
district, because it could very well change it.
We're getting word that there are about 8 absentee votes for that particular area. So you couldn't get any. This is like the ultimate in drama at this point in time. You couldn't get any closer.
Guys, are those going to be open to county tonight?
You know, I was thinking that we could leave a little early and possibly go home, but
have some pizza or something.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Now, I do want to ask you guys, though, and this is something that we can talk about because I have someone in Dadeville who is going to be texting me the returns in Dadeville here in the next 20 minutes or so. And while I wait on that, there's one thing that strikes me about this entire election, going back to August and now here through the runoff. You have in the city government of Alexander City, one incumbent survived.
Yes, and that incumbent, oddly enough, was in District 1.
That's right. That's my district.
That's right. Bobby Tapley, the only incumbent that survived. And what does that say about the mood of the voters? And I don't think it's just an Alex City thing, but all over, really all over the country right now.
I could speak to that to some degree, Jeremy, because that's my district. I think that Bobby is very well known in that district, and that's probably the primary factor that put him at that winning point. But this is one thing that I do believe that we're going to see over the next few years with him in that position, as you pointed out, being the only incumbent. I think there's going to be a lot of inspection, and there's going to be a lot of microscopic, I can't even think of the word that I want to use right now, but I believe he's going to be under the microscope as an incumbent going back in with what happens over the next few years. I think people are going to watch him very, very closely.
All right. You want to hear the numbers with absentee for District 2?
Numbers with absentee.
With absentee.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Actually, I'll do neighbors, District 1 and District 2 to kind of give you somewhat of an unofficial total at this point in time. Currently, with absentee, Mr. Neighbors has 2,481 votes. Mr. Shaw has 907 votes, which gives him a 73.2% margin versus a 26.8% amount. Steve Crow had 211 votes, and Bobby Tapley had 357, which gave him a victory of 62.9% versus 37.1%. And Audrey Buffy Colvin, with the absentee votes, has 273 votes, and Jacob Meacham had 267 votes.
That's a 6-vote separation right there.
6-vote separation, and she won.
Call for a recount. And I only ask that because usually when you see a race, whether it's federal, whether it's state, whether it's local, there's a certain percentage of separation that triggers an automatic.
Well, let me tell you, in the major races that may be, but I don't think we'll see hanging chads or dangling participles or anything of that nature at this point in time. I think that what they have, once it's canvassed and verified, will be what it is.
So a six-vote margin out of some 500 and 530 something.
Yeah, there were 15.
That's an amazing total.
There were a total of 15 absentee ballots. 8 were for her. 7 were for him.
Wow. What an amazing municipal election in Alex City. So, once again, I mean, we'll come back in just a minute and sort of wrap things up from Alex City and kind of talk about what this all means and go back through the vote totals again. But
it's
an amazing night.
I'm going to see if I can grab Audrey Buffy Colvin, and I see Bobby Tapley. Hopefully I can get an interview with both of them, and if I can find Mr. Neighbors, maybe we can get something for the radio on him.
Sounds great. We'll check in with you guys in a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
That is.
Are y'all good for a second?
Yeah.
So these are the
Absentee ballot.
right there. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You good?
Yes.
Did I get your email? Were you here the last time?
I was, but I did not get your email or anything now.
Okay, if you leave me your email, I can email you this.
Yeah, let me grab you your card. I think I have them with me.
Okay.
Actually, I can just write it down. That'll be easier.
Do you just have a sigh of relief over there, Buffy?
And just think, you got all of that before 7:30.
How about that? 6 votes.
Look. Now you know it's official, unofficial, right? Because we look. I don't trust nobody, so we took pictures of tapes. So I just want. We're gonna try and see if we can get you in on the next break with them, if that's okay. Okay. All right. And then I'm gonna also try and see if I can get Mr. Tapley for a quick interview.
So just
This is you?
Yes.
And where are you? Who are you with?
Alabama News Network out of Montgomery, WAK.
WAK. Okay.
So what and how y'all are getting this is you have someone at each polling location
Heck yeah.
taking a picture
Yep,
once it's
of the
posted.
tape. That's right.
It's nice to have people up here. I'm like an hour and a half away from people.
Yeah. And what I can do is I can send you what they because they have to bring it up here
Right,
and go
I remember
through
from
it.
last time.
But what we decided to do was he actually was one of them. They went to each place. There's a person at each place, and they took a picture of the actual tape.
Right.
So that's what they would be bringing over here at that
Okay.
point in time. So as we added it up, it should match fairly closely,
Right.
if not exact, with what. The only one that I feel good about, but I just would like to have them get the same, because it's not uncommon that sometimes
Are you
things.
streaming on YouTube?
Yes, well, I mean, on mine. We're talking to
Make sure you don't say
WAKA
anything
right
bad.
now. I don't.
We're talking to important people.
We're
right?
talking important people, reporters.
Reporters.
Anyway, so just making sure that information is like it's supposed to
Right.
be.
Okay, cool.
That's
Thank
all.
you guys.
Yes, sir.
So you got an update on all of the numbers, and then you also got an update on how we did it tonight,
That's right.
and a little smoother than the last time, would you say?
Yeah.
Cars don't break down and other things.
Well, it
So
looks like we got a little better handle on the absentee votes too. Here it looks like this particular one.
sorry to everyone about the live stream, but it seems
Bandwidth is
like everybody is trying to get on, so we're going to try and do what we can to, we can't do anything about the actual streaming part of it. Once again, just for those that may have missed it, it looks like Jim Neighbors will be our next mayor by a landslide victory of almost 40 to 50% win. Looks like Bobby Tapley will continue being our District 1 representative, and it looks like Audrey Buffy Colvin will be our District 2 representative. Congratulations to all three of them. We hope to get them on an interview shortly. And if you can hang with us, we'll be also breaking in to WKGA 97.5 to do additional interviews and updates. Hang out with us as long as you can. We're sorry about the
stream.
streaming. I mean, that's fine.
I gotta pick up my son from soccer.
Well, let's do you before you go.
Okay.
All right. So now we got all of this information. We've processed it.
We called it too.
Yes.
We called it all.
Yes.
We called every one of them.
I am a political. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, look,
Political
I am
mess.
a political hot mess, but I called each one of them. Anyway.
We did. We called all these, didn't we?
Yeah. What do you think? How do you think that makeup right now
I think it
will
went
move
down
Alex?
I think it went down exactly like we expected, and I think the Meacham Colvin vote went just like I expected, literally down to the wire. The absentee ballots could have make or break who was elected there, And listen, here's the funny thing. There's 7 people out there right now that voted for Miss Buffy that are jumping up and down saying, wow, I'm glad I voted. And you know what? There's 7 people out there that didn't show up to vote for Jacob and are kicking themselves.
That's the thing.
That's how voting works.
You know, for everyone that would say, in the last election between Bobby Tapley and Mike Ransaw, it came to a literal tie.
Literally.
And if you at any point in time can say that your vote doesn't count, you are lying, because you do not understand how close District 2 has been this year and District 1 has been in the previous election. And it's just obvious that is a huge, getting out the vote is huge. I know I had the pleasure of talking to Ms. Colvin just for a little while before we came on air earlier, and she had indicated that she was working on getting the vote out. And, that was one of the big pieces that we discussed is, her understanding of the numbers. Let's be honest. Politics is nothing but the numbers.
That's right.
Presidential politics, they don't really look at anything more than the numbers that they can expect from each area and how to drive that situation. The numbers, as far as, I think she had indicated to me, and I hope I'm not giving up deep secrets to Ms. Colvin of this, but she had said that she was shooting to get the vote of about 275 or 280 to the polls. And 273. I'm a little disappointed at her if she missed it by 2. But, she said she was going to meet her goals. She missed it by 2. I'm a little upset with her. But that just says that in both of these individuals, that was a hard-fought campaign. And Mr. Meacham has nothing to be upset about in that situation. This is what
I think that shows also. That shows that district was 50-50. They were split either way. They could take Miss Buffy, they could take Jacob, either direction. And I think what you're going to see, and I said this before in our last broadcast, I'm going to say it now, is I think that very qualified people ran in there, and I'm proud that Buffy won.
Yeah,
she's going to do an awesome job.
We've said on,
I don't have any reservations.
We've said on our channel
is what should happen.
We've said on our channel that both candidates were strong.
Yep.
And obviously, we pegged that right because both candidates.
We're so smart.
Oh yeah, well that's what it was. Yep. That's what it was. So smart.
We flipped the coin, actually. We did.
So, and now we need to start possibly turning to the makeup of the council. You have Scott Hardy, you have Funderburk, you have Mr. Brown, Tapley, Ms. Colvin. Who am I missing?
Tommy Spraggins. I had to trying to think what district you didn't.
The argument now, I'm hoping that going into the new council session, which will be, I think, November. Is that correct? We got audience participation now. Yeah. So, but I hope going into November they don't have the same issues that they had, which was it was a 50-50 split as to who will actually.
I'm going to say this right now. I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see two things. You're going to see two things with this council from here forward once they go into play, officially into play. One, you're going to see decisive action, and two, you're going to see public scrutiny.
Are you putting yourself out there?
I'm not going to back down from what I'm saying right now, but you're going to see decisive action on the part of these council members and the new mayor, and you're going to see a lot of public scrutiny for everything that they do. I think what we've seen the last few years, particularly in the last year and few months, has raised the level of awareness and the level of what people expect to take place. There's very little room for error now for this group that's going in. And for Mr. Tapley, who's incumbent that remains, I don't think there's going to be much room for error for them. They're going to be under a lot of scrutiny, and I don't envy that job for them over the next few months.
Yeah.
I think that they're all highly qualified to do that, but I think that they're going to have to be aware that the public is not going to cut them a lot of slack. In the past, sometimes we let things go, or we say, well, it'll work out. I don't believe that this city council is going to have that opportunity. I think people are going to be on them from the get-go to make sure that things are done the way that the districts want them done, as far as the constituents, the way they're represented, the way things are handled from here forward, things in the past that need to be squared away and straightened up. I don't see that there's going to be a lot of, people are not going to be very patient or forgiving with this council. I don't believe that.
Well, I think that the difference is because of all of the issues, people are more aware now.
That's right.
And I think that even the previous individuals will be in a position where, the individuals who didn't win will be in a position where they'll want to still be involved in some shape,
No
form, or
doubt,
fashion.
no doubt. I think you're going to see some big changes across the board, things that probably we aren't even aware of that will probably take place over the next few months.
And I want to say thank you to a group of people because we're done essentially at about 7:30, and I think I just saw the first boxes roll in here at City Hall. So I want to say thank you to Tony Goss and all of the individuals that volunteered to help him go out and take pictures of the tapes,
the election tapes,
give them back to us so that we can get you the information almost immediately. So I want to publicly thank all of those individuals and Mr. Goss for organizing that whole effect. And that's, once again, a council member who is coming off that's found a way to kind of provide information to the public and service to the public, knowing that he's not going to be on the council any longer. So thank you to him and his team, and Jeff Kirk, who has played dual roles tonight. He actually went out there, took pictures of District 2, and came back and kept us on air. So, hey, you can't do much better than that. So, but we're going to, you got to leave me?
I got to fly out of here. I've got to go pick up my son from soccer practice in Auburn.
All right.
Well, I'm on carpool duty.
As usual, I do appreciate it. Maybe we
I want you to get some of these guests on here. Then I want to see you interview Miss Buffy. I think she deserves a spot in the limelight here for what she's done.
After she has stressed out, I think I deserve to treat her right. Look, if there was ever a time where there's the I'm melting situation, she has done that. She's done it. So I appreciate you, Doug, and we'll get together and do a wrap up in a couple of days. So, Miss Colvin.
Thank you. God bless you.
We are going to see if we can get Miss Colvin on, and we're going to do a dual deal with the radio station.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to sit way over here so I don't hit Sean.
Nuh-uh. You going to come. Look. How they say, I need you next to me. I need to be in striking distance.
Bless it.
Hold on 1 second. Let's link up with the radio station.
Live country.
Hey, you ready to go live on the radio?
I'm ready, man.
All right.
Everybody with you or no?
I have Miss Colvin with me at this point.
Good deal. All right, hang on. Station the guy that's ranked number 40, and so I think that made it extremely difficult here. You can't pick 5 quarterbacks. You can't pick 10. Breaking news reports live coverage of the Alabama municipal election runoff. And Showing Bland is on the scene down there at City Hall tonight. Got all of the numbers in. All the races are final. One of the winners tonight of the closest race this year. Enjoying Mr. Showing Bland right now. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, buddy?
Very good.
Well, I got Miss Audrey Buffy Colvin sitting next to me, and I did her kind of wrong, I must admit. I actually she was sitting in front of us when we were giving out results, and she was sitting there, and I gave her number last, and she was a little upset with me because I did it right. She really wasn't, but I did it wrong. But she knew it was all in love, and I just got one question for you. How does it feel, council person?
Ooh, feel like I can breathe. I can breathe. Thank you.
Now, like I said, we had talked a little earlier, and I kind of asked you, what did you see as the key to potentially winning this particular race? What were you looking at doing? Was it turnout? What was the number that you were after? Tell me a little bit about what your strategy was to try and get where you were today.
Actually today, what I did today, first I worked third shift last night, so I'm really tired right now. But anyway, what I did was looked at the people that I knew were going to be, that I thought was going to be out voting, and sort of touch base with all of them. Myself, my Aunt Linda, we were out this morning calling people, texting people, knocking on doors. You need to go vote, reminding people. And our number was 275. That was my number I'd come up with. I needed 275 to make sure that I had actually did all I could to get this position, and that's pretty much where I was going to, was 275.
Well, you should be greatly disappointed. You only got 273.
I know.
So we talked about that. You said you were going to shoot for 275.
I'm going to blame the two on two of my cousins who I know did not turn in their absentee ballot, so I'm good.
Well,
I actually had 275. They just didn't turn them in.
And what we found in this situation was that you actually had 273, and it was a very close race. 267 is what Mr. Meacham had. And as you know, I had actually said that it was going to be too close to call. And literally, the absentee ballots kind of solidified it a little bit for you. You know, I've asked you 100 billion questions over the campaign period, but I guess the question that I most want to ask you, I've asked you this before, what is it that you would like to work on as one of your first projects?
One of my first projects would be making sure that we bring Alex City back together. I think that's one of our major things, is getting our city back together, making sure we get everybody on the same page, letting everybody know the city is for all of us. It's not just for one group of people or one set of people. It's for everybody. Making sure the city is working and doing the best job we can for our citizens. So that's what one of my pet projects would be. Also making sure that we're doing whatever we can to make sure that the city is viable for our kids in the future. The kids to me are very important, and that's always going to be a focus for me, because I think that the reason why I'm here is so that my nephew knows that he can come back to Alex City and make a living, have a home here, and not feel like, oh, I need to go to Georgia or somewhere else. So those are the two things that I'm geared toward thinking and making an impact there first. We've got to make sure we bring all citizens together. Our council needs to be together along with our mayor, and so that's my goal.
Anything you want to say to the people after this victory tonight as you close?
273 people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To everybody who I knocked on your door and you welcomed me in your home as if you knew me, thank you, thank you, thank you. To my friends at Russell Medical Center who have been behind me 100%, how are we doing? Are you going to win? Can we do anything? Thank you, thank you, thank you. To my family, my mama, my Aunt Linda, my Aunt Dolly, my play sister Sherry, my cousin Brentina, my friend Miranda. Oh my gosh, those people have done anything and everything I've asked them to do, and we have done everything. We've cooked every meat you could possibly cook. We've been everywhere. We've knocked on doors. We've given out water, popsicles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to my friend Meacham, who I really just met doing this election process, thank you for running a good, clean race. I ask you to continue to stay in touch, because it's not just going to be about me. You are a member of District 2, and I want what your thoughts are, how you think we need to proceed in some things. I'm going to be soliciting your advice on some things, so please know that this is not about me. This is about everybody that's in District 2, and I thank everybody. My mama has been a trooper. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, Jeremy, as you can see, I think Audrey is ready to, or should I say Buffy, is ready to take the seat and get started as a council person.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Audrey, Buffy, Colvin, too. And how's the scene down there, Sean? Is it thinning out down there?
Actually, it was thin originally. We've had Mayor Shaw and we've had Mr. Neighbors come in. I guess the Mayor-elect Neighbors come in. And all of a sudden, it has gotten kind of busy in here. As you can tell, it's a little louder than when we originally started. So it's a lot of activity now as more boxes are coming in.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting to continue to watch, and we'll let you get back to work with what you're doing over there. Sean, boy, you're doing a great job tonight.
I think I'm going to snag Mr. Tapley next.
Thank you, Sean. And to my friend Sherry Ellison.
Race for Jim Neighbors as he defeats Charles Shaw. Nearly 2-1 advantage in that. We will be back with more right now, more of Sports Blitz Live. Different than the big city billboard loggers. We want to give your case the personal attention.
Hey, JJ.
We had an auto accident, tractor trailer accident, and other cases where our clients have been injured and need personal legal attention. To me and my
Bobby.
staff,
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You ready?
Love you.
All right. Thank you, D.
we will turn your phone call.
All right.
So if you've been injured, give me a call today or visit us on our website.
Oh, I got covered. Hey, JJ.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Let's see. We got 5 people looking. It looks like we're doing okay, but I guess it wouldn't hurt either way. I got 700 messages right now, so oh my God, it's terrible. Let's see.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Double of work on.
Trying to sweat me.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Y'all got to see a great cosmetology issue for Mr. Tapley here. He combed that hair on online streaming. Would you like to give us any hair care tips, sir?
Just keep it real. Let's see.
Here lately, and it's just distorted as layers.
JJ.
Our regular programming starts with live coverage of the election. Sean playing the 17th at City Hall now with another council person tonight. The only incumbent council member or mayor that is next city government, Bobby Tapley. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Very good.
Well, I got Councilman Bobby Tapley with me, and Councilman, you went from it being somewhat close to looks like you pulled off another victory. That's 2 times. Any thoughts as to what you want to do now that you are back in and you're ready to get going?
Just want to continue to focus on the positive things for the city and to look forward to better things to come for the whole new crew in here. So I hope we can all work together to make Ellick City prosperous again, to bring a positive light back into Ellick City.
Now, I've asked our other new council person or newly elected council person, what would be the first project that you would like to see as you go into office again, that you'd like to see worked on yourself?
I know one of the things I worked on in some of the constituents in my district, they would like to see a grant to put a sidewalk from Stevens School down to North Central, because that's a dangerous spot to walk. That's something I'd like to see done. The community over there would love to have it. It'd be based on grant money, because as far as city funding alone would be a tough project to do.
Right. What was your strategy going into tonight? I know we had talked and you had said that you wanted to focus primarily on getting out to each individual. Tell me a little bit about what you thought your successful strategy would be going into this election.
First of all, putting my trust and faith in Jesus Christ. That's the biggest thing. And then just remaining connected to my constituents, to remain visible, to let them know that I truly care for the district. I care for them. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, that I'm a person who will support everybody.
Okay. Anything you'd like to say to the individuals, the 357 people that decided to vote for you and your district as a whole at this point in time?
I thank everybody for turning out and voting, and I just looked at the number. 4 years ago, I tied with 307 votes, and it's funny that I received that many again, but I just appreciate everybody turning out and support. You don't ever know how the runoff's going to come out, how many people are going to come out and vote, but I think we were shy of about 40 votes of who turned out at the primary. So just thank everyone for sticking behind me, for having faith in the job that I've done and what I will do. And I'll continue to be open, always available for anybody to call me. And like I've always done, I'll immediately call you back. I will come visit you. I will come to your house personally and see what your needs are and do everything within my power to make sure things are taken care of properly.
Well, JJ, that is the words itself from Councilman Bobby Tapley. He's gone into his second term now, and it was a convincing win, and not just the close ones that he has come accustomed to winning. This time he had almost a 12% margin that he actually didn't even need to win this time. So hopefully, and now the only thing that I saw in the numbers was that the turnout in District 1 seemed to be a little lower at 86% from the last runoff election that they had. Got to work on getting that vote out in District 1 in the coming future, but looks like we're on our way to having another successful term, Mr. Tapley.
Looking forward to it, and thanks again for everyone coming out.
And JJ, I'm going to turn it back over to you unless you got any questions.
No, I'm good. Thank you very much, Sean, and thank you very much, Mr. Tapley. Congratulations on your win as our live election coverage continues here at Elijah Country.
Thank you, JJ.
To Alabama on National Signing Day. Bama with that.
Huh? Oh, yeah, you're free.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations, buddy.
Sean, appreciate it.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
You next, come on up here. Look, come on. Come on.
I mean, I would be pretty worried, but it's not fair.
Okay. You know I ain't scared. Look, I ain't scared.
Is that thing on?
Yeah, it's on. It's running live.
You did the rest of running for my dad.
Come on, sit down.
No.
Chicken.
Don't start playing.
So, we now have one of the family members of Mr. Tapley. This is my baby girl, Miss Ashley.
Sean?
Are you happy that your dad actually is done campaigning and he can go back to being daddy again?
Oh, yeah. We've missed him being at home all the time because he's always busy campaigning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he deserved it. So.
Okay. Now, you are of age now. Did you vote?
And my very first time I got to vote for my
You got to vote for your dad. Is that not historic in itself? Your first vote was a vote for your dad.
And I got to vote twice.
So I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay.
With what all you've seen with having a new mayor and council person, and I know you've kind of watched, what do you see as your future, or as the people your age, what do you see going forward in Alex City in that situation? I know it's a big question. I mean, how do you see the future in Alex City, I guess?
Well, I think with the right people that it's going to move forward. And I think that we do have some of the right people. And I think that with all the right people, it's going to keep going forward.
Awesome. Anything you want to say to the people in your district, your dad's district and your district, as the campaign goes to a close at this point in time?
But we appreciate y'all coming out to vote, and I think y'all made a very great decision.
All right.
My
You know, wait a minute. I have to say this. You represent your mom well.
I tell you that all the time.
Thank you, Ashley, and I
Thank you.
appreciate you. You know, you're going to always be my baby girl. All right. All right.
Nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, we're closing up. Hopefully, I don't see either one of the mayoral people anymore, so I was hoping that we could get Mr. Neighbors. Has he left?
Yeah. As far as I know, yes.
Okay. So we will try and see if we can get some more interviews in a second. Hang out with us for just a minute while I try and find out a little more information. Thank you.
Some more guests. We joined in Sean's land there down at City Hall tonight. Joined by a member of our county commission. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing good. It looks like we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon, and I have the illustrious pleasure of interviewing one of my friends and a longtime elected official here in the area, T.C. Coley, Commissioner Coley. This is my first interview with him, and I'm excited at this point in time. Hello, Commissioner Coley. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you this evening, Mr.
I'm doing
Brown?
good. I guess after we are in a position right now of kind of getting an idea of kind of how this is going to look, it's pretty much close to being finalized. So I'll say unofficial at this point until Miss Harriet says that it's good. You know how that goes around here. Nothing goes unless Miss Harriet says it's good.
Agreed.
So how do you see Alex City politics starting to shape up a little bit as far as the city is concerned? And I'm not really talking about any more than what new opportunities do you potentially see on the horizon at this point?
Well, I think the first challenge for the new council will be just embracing the challenge and responsibility that come with elected office. I think that they're walking into a situation with a lot of unknowns as it relates to the finances of the city. So I think before they could even focus on a lot of the more progressive and innovative ideas that they may have had as part of their campaign, they're going to have to focus on stabilizing the city.
Right.
Once city government is stabilized financially, procedurally, and otherwise, then they can get to the business of focusing on economic development, community development, things of that nature that directly impact the quality of life of the citizens of Alexander City.
Well, and you know, way back, you were a first-time elected official. How do you adjust in that? What advice would you give these new individuals on adjust? Because you have 5 new council persons and 1 new mayor. So what advice would you give them to try and adjust in that situation?
Well, I think initially you have to focus. The first thing I would have done is advising candidates would not to have been make a lot of promises, because one of the things you always found as elected official, if you campaign, make a lot of promises, is that the situation is never the way you thought it was until you get on the inside. And once you're on the inside, then you have to begin to understand that there's reasons that things are the way they are. Then once you understand the lay of the land, you can begin to methodically and procedurally make changes and improvements. But I would advise them to take the time to get to understand the rules and regulations in terms of how they govern. There's the basic, it's the boring stuff. It's understand the procedures of the council, the duties of the various officials in the city. It's all the boring stuff that doesn't get headlines. It's just like any sport or anything else. If you're a musician, you learn to play scales. If you're in chorus, if you're a football player, you learn blocking, tackling, running. A basketball player, dribbling and shooting. Baseball, throw and catch. There are some fundamentals to being an effective elected official. So they have to focus on just understanding how that process works. And then as they get better at the process, then they can focus on the more innovative and creative ways of with ideas and solutions to address the problems and concerns of the people with the city. Because if you don't get the fundamentals down, then you're going to find yourself with all these ideas and having to backtrack because, again, you didn't understand. Let me say it this way. It's not only important to have a good idea, you need to understand the process of getting a good idea implemented, and that takes a little time.
How to work it through the system. In other words, what you're saying, if I can kind of summarize,
sure.
Sit back, learn a little bit, figure out some of the fundamentals, and then you can start being an effective leader at that point in time.
Right.
Would that be pretty close?
Yeah, a little less on the sit back part, but engage the system, the system with the intent of learning the process. And that's not to say that I'm taking the Nick Saban reference to process for all you Alabama fans out there.
It's okay.
Everything has process and procedures. You need to understand that if you want to be effective, because being an elected official is about being effective within the system, and you need to learn it.
Now, real briefly,
sure.
What are some of the? Can you give us kind of a summary of some of the big projects or some of the things that are happening on the county that you're involved in right now that you think might be of interest to our listeners?
Well, right now, we just passed our budget as a county, and one of the things that we've done is we've managed to, again, balance our budget without any major challenges or what have you. For the most part with the county, we're looking at doing everything we can to maintain the current level of programs and policies and services that we have been over these years without having to pass on any increased costs and expenses to the citizens. One of the challenges we've had at the county is making sure that you find a balance between providing services to the citizens and also making sure you address the concerns about benefits and things to the public. There's not a lot in terms of major projects. We continue to be engaged in economic development projects, and a lot of that we don't talk about specifically publicly because when you're dealing with economic development, companies don't like for you to discuss specifics about their project because project location is actually considered to be a competitive advantage. So a lot of times we're working with the Economic Development Alliance. Sometimes we're working with the city on economic development projects to bring more jobs to the area. But you can't go into details until it's really time to do the job's done. And the one thing I will say about economic development, one thing that all the elected officials have heard, county, city, and otherwise, is that as we recruit companies into the community, they're wanting to see companies that are having a higher starting wage. Early on, our focus was on trying to stabilize the community, get the jobs we can, but now that we're a little more stable, we can focus on jobs with higher starting salaries than we have in the past.
Is that a good strategy though? Because do you end up putting yourself in a position where you might miss out on additional economic growth by not, by turning someone away when you really are looking for that long-term customer in that situation?
Sure. What happens quite often is part of the incentive. In other words, it's not to say that if a company came here and said, okay, we're bringing 500 jobs, but only starting at, say, $8 an hour, that we're going to try to run the company away. At the same time, we're probably going to be less likely to provide all these incentives to encourage them to come here if somebody showed up with 800 jobs with $15 an hour. There's a whole different strategy. I think that we want to encourage any company to come to the community, but if we're going to invest taxpayers' resources, we want to invest in those types of businesses that are going to bring wages that can improve the quality of life for citizens, because right now, our hourly wage has been fairly level for several years. And just again, because of the large job loss at Russell, the emphasis has been on trying to stabilize the workforce, which generally we have. Now the emphasis on improving the quality of compensation so that people can do more things, have more to spend locally, buy homes, do things to add and improve the quality of life in the community.
Well, you've done an awesome job in Tallapoosa County, and I wanted to personally say thank you because you're in my district. Anyway, so, Jeremy, is there anything else you got a question for Commissioner Coley on, or I'm good. I think we're about to wrap it up here tonight. The elected mayor and the previous mayor have vacated, so I think we are done for the night with our election coverage on Kalijah Country 97.5.
Thank you very much, Sean Bloom, and for keeping us up to date at Alexander City Hall. Also,
okay.
And we're out.
Anything else? You good?
Well, we're good. And I know you said briefly, and I said it to a mom.
Well, no, that's all. And we're still streaming, but sure. I did one of the things, we didn't get to talk as long because it was live on the radio, but I do like, that was one of the things that I found interesting was, that, like you said, but you explained it better, where you want to invest in the long-term high-wage job, and you don't want to spend as much on the short-term, the long-term lower wage, but you don't want to ignore them either in that situation.
What has to happen is you have to look at it, it's almost like anything you build. First, you have to you build a foundation. Our foundation was coming in and saying, okay, we need to get people employed, and if what was most available at the time were the automotive jobs in the $9 to $10 an hour range,
which you could get.
And the reality is, there's a lot of communities that would have loved to have that, because we probably outpaced almost every community our size in the state in terms of new job growth over the last 10 years, new job placements. And now that we've generally gotten a good base of that $9 to $10, $11 jobs, now we can focus on what will it take to get a different level of jobs. And we've modified some of our approach to recruitment. One of the things that's happened under leadership with Don McClellan and his staff with Sandra and Denise is that we focus on going after the people that recruit for the companies.
Right.
You can spend all this money advertising in these magazines.
Doesn't mean nothing.
Around the country, these placement magazines, all these recruiter site selection magazines, but when you have relationships with the site selectors, it helps you get out of the fray and get on the short list for a lot of companies. So we've become more sophisticated, and I say the Alliance, along with the city and the county, have become more sophisticated in terms of how we go about targeting recruiting industries. So, I think good days are ahead in terms of industrial recruitment.
And I'd be wrong to get me and you together and not talk about how's your son doing at Allen University.
Oh, he's doing pretty good.
Getting ready to start wrestling?
Yeah, wrestling season's around the way, and I think sometime I think it may be early February sometime, they'll actually be wrestling in Huntington.
Okay, all right.
The big challenge now is that, he just has to, the coach told me today when he's focused and he wants to, he can beat anybody in his weight class. So his challenge is to stay focused and stay consistent. Sometimes my child can get a little comfortable with his motivation.
He's comfortable, and that's okay. That's okay. It's just that they're finding a way to bring that comfort out of him in that situation.
Yes, and I always like to remind my child, what you do in practice makes you good. What you do on your own makes you good.
Even better. Yeah. Anything that you would like to tell? Well, I guess the other question that I have, what are your plans? Are you looking at staying as county commissioner for a while, or Is there something else that
Some
you might be,
sinister plan
some
down the
sinister
road.
plan down, look, some conspiracy down the road, or are you just comfortable kind of being where you are for right now and doing some of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm effective where I am, and there's some things and projects, short term and long term, I want to focus on. So at this point, my goal is to focus on finishing this term and at least eyeing another term and seeing what can be done in the next 2 to 6 years to help improve the district. However, it's not one of these things where I want to hang around to be like 30 or 40 years in the same seat, because I've literally had colleagues that have stayed in the position 40 years. I'd like to spend a lot of my time focusing on getting more people involved, developing more leaders within the community, because I think there's a lot of people out there with leadership potential
That
they need guidance and mentoring.
Giving them some exposure.
Yeah, exposure, some education, and just helping the people develop their strengths and abilities, because there's a lot of people that can contribute to our community, but they don't necessarily feel there's a way in or feel like there's a place for their voice. And some it's just a matter of saying, hey, this is how the process works, and helping people see what their capabilities are.
Well, again, from a humble person that lives in Alexander City and part of your district, I do appreciate the work that you've put into the city. You've helped to kind of be like a stopgap for a lot of the people who are not able to do some of the things and fund some of the projects that are in the city, and keep up the good work. Hopefully you won't be a stranger on the show now,
We'll get back together.
Okay, all right.
In public.
Well,
back and see
I
it.
do appreciate everything, and keep up the good work.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right? That was Commissioner T.C. Coley, and we're going to pretty much wrap it up. If he doesn't mind, he can hang out for just a second, and we'll go into the wrap-up mode. Once again, they're bringing in most of the actual ballots at this point that are sealed and everything else. The tapes are the most important part. We've gotten most of that information. For those that are just joining us, I see that there are a lot of individuals that are just joining us. Our total numbers for mayor, 2,481 votes for Mr. Neighbors, 907 for Mr. Shaw. That is a 97% turnout compared to the last runoff election 4 years ago. In District 1, total of 211 votes for Crow, 357 votes for Mr. Bobby Tapley, 568 total votes. That's an 86% turnout compared to the last runoff election. And our final contest was Audrey Buffy Colvin, 273 votes. Jacob Meacham ended up with 267 total votes. That is the closest race that we've had in this contest. 50.6% total vote for Audrey, and 49.4%. That is a very tight race. They actually was decided by 6 votes. So going into the general election, if you say that your vote doesn't count, look at those 6 people, and they made that argument that is not true. Actually, in that district, they had 540 total votes, which was 95% of the total people that came back out, which in District 1 and District 2 is not bad if you think about it.
Historically, you always have a lower turnout when it comes to the runoff election, but actually when you're trending over 86% in both of those cases, you're doing extremely well. And as a matter of fact, that's really a testament to all the candidates in both of those races, that they were able to get their supporters to turn back out.
Yeah, they actually are running at almost the exact same numbers from District 1 and 2 previously. So I'm impressed with that.
Yes.
Last thing is we will now probably start turning, now that the city elections are over. We have 2 interviews that are set for district attorney and for this particular area, and we've been contacted by the congressional representative that's running for the Democratic Party. He wants to do an interview, hopefully Friday. Hopefully we'll try and get that in by this weekend. I'm excited that we have a congressional person that's running that wants to get on camera and talk to the people. We're also working on Mike Rogers at this point. So going into the next election, hopefully we'll have some pretty good information for our people to be able to follow and figure out. As always, I ask you to like, share. I know a lot of people don't like commenting, but they don't want to expose themselves for whatever reason. But at this point, I do have to say I appreciate everything that people are doing. I get pulled to the side. Hey, I really like what you've done. So I appreciate that, and we're just trying to continue to educate the people. Thanks to Jeff Kirk and Wise Point for keeping me online. I have to thank you for that and helping us kind of keep this dream alive. So till the next time, I am going, and of course my lovely wife who actually showed up tonight as support. So Glenda Bland, shout out to CACC. Anyway, as we move forward, hopefully we'll be putting a lot more information on Facebook, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, I am the Centrist of Alabama, and my name is Sean Bland, and we will see you at the next interview or the next event. Have a wonderful evening.